defence and a good attack as well, the best in the competition. But this will be a test tonight. Chris Kendall, the referee, knows that he's got two sides here that like to entertain, that like to play the game at a high level and a decent pace as well. And he'll know that he wants to open it up and let it keep going as a free-flowing game.
Warrington will attack from right to left, which means that they will be playing into the teeth of a fairly strong wind that's blowing down the pitch tonight. They will, of course, have the benefit of that breeze in the second half. And I imagine that the kicking game and possible 40-20s will be quite important tonight. Match referee is Chris Kendall, and he's just waiting for everything to get off the field. And we're just about ready to go. It's going to be Stefan Ratchford who will get this game underway. Two of the top three in the Betfred Super League then. Here we go, and Ratchford kicks us off. And back will come Greg Eden, and that's a fierce challenge led by Darryl Clark. And Castleford with first use of this football. Liam Watts has had a big couple of weeks, has Liam Watts. Gets to his feet and plays the ball to McShane. Here they come with Chris Clarkson. Chris Clarkson, of course, made his name at the Leeds Rhinos, really, but arrived here from Hulkingston Rovers. This, Junior Moores. Grant Millington out suspended, so doing a job tonight, doing a big shift in the front row. And that's Jake Truman with a good deep kick. He was outside the 40-metre zone, though, so no chance of a 40-20, but a great chase from Castleford.
Well, that's a wonderful kick and chase from Castleford Tigers. And Terry O'Connor referenced the start that Warrington Wolves made last week. Well, Castleford Tigers, against a stubborn, dogged Hull KR, had a sloppy, scrappy start to their game, and probably our last 10-15 minutes that the players and coaches will learn a lot from. Grant Millington unable to play tonight because of a reaction, a few punches thrown, so discipline will it be important, but you can see already the focus is on the start.
Mike Cooper driving Warrington over their own 14-metre mark. Will get to his feet, play it here to Clark. And Ben Curry, first touch back in the Super League for 28 games. Great to see him. There he is, number 11 on his back, Ben Curry. Great young player, dogged by injury though over the past couple of seasons. High kick into the strong wind, and Peter Matautia, the Castleford full-back, pouches that quite safely. And gets it away to Eden.
Eddie, he was good last week. Kick returning the ball. Peter Matautia is finding his place in the team. He's the go-to man on those behind the ball, behind the man plays near the opposition's line, but he's a strong runner of the ball, as is Jesse Senilafeo.
Toby King very alert and workmanlike there at the ruck as Watts takes it forward again for the Castleford Tigers. Unbeaten they are at the top of the table. This is their biggest test so far, though. Warrington defending an unbeaten home record. Castleford one of 4 teams to win on this ground last year. 34-30, it was a classic. Let's hope for the same tonight.
Problem with Junior was then when he stood up from that tackle here. Stefan Ratchford looks to get into top gear as quick as possible. Paul McShane down below, Nathan Massey up above.
There's Darryl Clark.
All about the speed here. And Josh Charnley, he's a powerful returner of the ball as well. Darryl Clark already barking out the orders to the men around the ruck.
Chris Kendall resisting the temptation to blow the whistle there. Curry driving it in again.
That's what he needs to do as well, Eddie. The first touch, get it out of the way, get straight into this game.
Austin gets the ball away to Hughes. He goes past the first would-be challenge of Watts, but can't get away from Nathan Massey. Here is Chris Hill. Brilliant pass out the back last week for a try in Perpignan. Now Curry once more. Ben Curry, just 13 appearances for Warrington in the last 2 years. How unlucky has he been? Patton hoists the kick high. There's that breeze I'm telling you about, and it drifts that ball over the sideline out on the full, so that'll be the turnover. Maybe they'd be better served, Warrington, putting this ball on the deck.
Well, some decent pressure as well on the inside. You've got to give Chris Clarkson some praise for that. He come along, he got in his eye line, he made him kick the ball, and uncomfortable kick for him.
I think, Eddie, one of the reasons why he won't put the ball on the deck is because Peter Matautia last week just completely misjudged one of the high kicks. Didn't get anywhere near it. Hull KR scored from it. If there is a weakness in Peter Matautia's game, it is perhaps under the high ball.
There is Matautia now. And Paul McShane, dummy half, goes down the short side here with Jesse Seni Lefeo. Made his 60th career appearance last week, Castleford appearance at Hull KR. It was a good movement from Clarkson coming onto the pass from Jordan Rankin.
Do that so well, Cas Tigers. The shifts, the ball movement, the confidence and assurity when they're passing the ball. Joy to watch.
Well done, 5.
Rankin hoists the kick high. It's got the wind behind it, but Ratchford deals with it quite competently.
Diffuses so many situations, doesn't he? Whether the ball's high in the air or down below. Jake Mammon again, strong carry, 3 defenders around him. Good play, Stephen Ratchford at the back for Warrington.
Here comes Bryson Goodwin now on the charge for Warrington. He's yet to score this year. Clark gets the ball away again to Toby King. Watts was a little high. His initial challenge just drifted above the shoulder.
He's a full-on player, isn't he, Liam Watts?
Amatazi missed round 1 against Leeds, substituted Hull Kingston Rovers.
Go, 5.
3rd in a row for Tazi in the starting 13. Austin hoists the kick again. This will hang everywhere. And, well, he looks all right under the high ball on that occasion, Peter Matati.
Well, you've got to get up quick with him because he's got explosive speed, hasn't he, the Samoan international. The outside backs these days, you look at the size of them, the speed that they can generate over the first 10 metres. Manu's behind the play of the ball as well now. Greg Eden, you just watch how quick he is. First penalty again.
Hands in, trying to play the ball. Tazi is picked out as the culprit. He's all over the place, and a real mess at that play of the ball.
And that's with a nod to the importance of ruck control. If you can play your ball quicker than your opponents, and on the other side of the coin, if you can control when you're defending how quick your opposition plays, then you've got an advantage.
Well, I think Stuart Pearce has got a season ticket at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. I'm sure I heard him on the radio last night commentating on the Paris Saint-Germain Manchester United match, where of course video refereeing came of age as far as the football fans are concerned, particularly the red half of Manchester. You no idea what I'm talking about, Barry, have you?
No, I don't watch football, I do. Unless it's egg-shaped, I'm not watching it.
Here is Seni Lefeo.
Well, he's been a very good player for Castleford, and it's important that Warrington close down Seni Lefeo. Starting the season, tremendous form. Tigers shifting the ball back to the middle again, left to right.
Rankin gets it to Clarkson, good hands, he finds Minikin, he comes wide here to James Clare. Clare goes back the same way, then straightens it up or tries to, runs into Liam Watts. Liam Watts was almost the 3rd Warrington defender there, along with Tazi and Clark. McShane dabs it up into the air, looking for the tall men. That ball is knocked back. Is it 6 to go? It doesn't matter. I don't think this is a try for Greg Eden. And the try is given by Chris Kendall. Kick to the corner, knocked back or knocked forward by Warrington. Doesn't really matter because it was play on, and Darryl Powell's men have an early lead here. It's Warrington 0, Castleford Tigers 4, 7.5 minutes exactly on the watch.
Well, Paul McShane, he always leads the way with try assist for Castleford. Look at that. Drops it in perfect position. Michael Shenton is so dangerous over on the left-hand side. Michael Shenton jumps high, concentrates on getting that ball back into Greg Eden's hands. And Greg Eden, as soon as he gets that ball, well, there's no one really going to stop him. First of all, it's the supplier in Shenton, then to the finisher in Eden. And Darryl Powell gives him a round of applause for that finish.
Greg Eden's 6th try of the season, level at the top of the Super League try-scoring charts with Wakefield's Tom Johnston.
Lydia talked about the shift and the quality of the shift from Castleford, but it's not just when the ball's passed and they'll have a crack at you, it's the next one and the one after that. They don't stand back and admire what they've done, they shuffle back, reload, get in position and look to see what's available to them on the next tackle.
So here then is Jordan Rankin. Wind at his back, as I say, he can maybe curl this over the top of the... Well, he tried to do that. He tried to use the wind to his advantage, and he got closer to the corner flag than he did the posts. Castleford lead though by 4 points to 0 thanks to that man's try.
Well, this won't be a big surprise to Warrington. The Castleford Tigers have scored 4 times as many tries on the left-hand side of the field to the right. They're a very lopsided team. And one of the reasons why Warrington would almost consider putting another defender over that side. More often than not, they attack that way, they pass the ball that way, and usually they cross the line in that corner.
right, yeah,
It's a good start for the unbeaten leaders at the top of the table.
time back
They lost 6-18 at home to Warrington last Easter when the pitch were underwater, really at one end, the deep end and the shallow end down at the Jungle. They won 28-18 at home in the Super 8s last August, did the Tigers. They've got a fairly good record against the Warrington Wolves in the recent past, there's no doubt about that.
Get a roll, get back!
You're watching what Castleford are doing here, bringing the ball away. Everyone knows what the roles are, what's wanted from the likes of Jake Truman, Rankin, or the man pulling strings, Paul McShane behind the play of the ball. Always seems to be the one.
Still three.
Good hands, Truman gets it away to Matautia. That was touched. It was touched by Toby King. This will be a zero tackle, and it is. Warrington haven't beaten Castleford at home since 2016. It was a 14-11 win in the Super 8s here.
Matauti looking to pass the ball to Jesse Seni-Lefeo. Warrington just sticking a hand out, another set of 6.
Nathan Massey.
2. Move, Lama! Back Ben. Wait.
Behind him again, McShane. Just over the halfway line.
There's no big run-ups to get over the advantage line from Castleford. They're all swarmed around the play of the ball, looking for that quick pass, early play.
Truman goes wide, Matautia picked that out of the air neatly with one hand.
Stan Lama! Go.
And Shenton is the dummy half. Jesse Seni-Lefeo takes it forward towards the line. He's so close, but he's grounded just short. Last tackle coming up, Liam Watt. Oh, if McShane had held on to that, Castleford would have doubled their lead.
Well, they scored a similar try last week, Liam Watts, from a little crash over play, but looking about that, Jesse Seni-Lefeo so close, Stefan Ratchford doing a decent job, and you can see the big prop forward just lining up, turns around, pops it up for a little run around play with Paul McShane, who just can't bring it in, but you can see with Watts, he attracts defenders and creates that space for the hooker.
There was some space available to Castleford Tigers. Darryl Powell, Brian Sheridan, Danny Hart, all half-backs, all smart, intelligent men when they were players, and they've transferred that through to this Castleford Tigers side.
Back, Junior. Go 2.
And Curry will play the ball there to Stefan Ratchford. Here's the skipper, Chris Hill.
Third. Move.
It's a decent start, this, by Castleford.
Go third.
Lively.
Back in the rooks, Nathan.
And Patton once again, pulled down by Clarkson. Helped out by Junior Moores. That's a big double act to take on for Deck Patton. Austin gets the pass away here to Tarzi.
5. Move.
They're over halfway, Warrington, but it's last tackle time.
Go 5.
And it's with Blake Austin. He'll hoist this high. And this is a test for Matautia. He's had to take a step back, and he deals with it.
Okay, play on.
Well, he's nice and controlled and focused. Peter Matauti at the back.
Wait, go 1.
Under some pressure from Warrington. Again, the outside backs getting in for Castleford yet again, but look at the way Warrington defended. They are hitting in numbers, they're hitting hard as well.
James Clare gets the pass away.
Third. Move.
Seni-Lefeo to the 40-metre mark. We'll play the ball here quickly. Liam Watts. Warrington crowd expectant tonight, and just a little quiet at the moment. That ball has come free, but illegally, says Chris Kendall. Castleford have another penalty.
Well, Liam Watts is one of those players that he likes to ride a tackle, he likes to offload the ball. And when he turns around, when he's hit by 3 Warrington players, I think he's looking to offload it. And there's a problem here when he goes down. You just see, he goes down, hits the floor.
Sharley's hand was all over it, wasn't it?
There's a slight problem for Warrington in that they're conceding far more penalties than they're being awarded in matches. They've got the worst record of any team. I know we've only had 4 games before tonight, still early in the season, but you get on the wrong side of the penalty count, the opposition get the ball, and if they've got the ball, you can't score. So it's a conundrum that his team need to sort of
Jake, ready, mate. Time back
solve.
on.
Great Lee Breers just passing a word of acknowledgement, a word of encouragement
Discipline.
to his coach, Stephen Price.
There's Nathan Massey at the line, change of direction. He started the season off well. Is this going to be his turn? He's lost it yet.
Had to knock on Nathan Massey, he just didn't have control of that.
So he gets through his work well, doesn't he? Nathan Massey makes the mistake here.
Again, there are hands in at the play of the ball. It might have gone the other way.
You're not seeing it, and you can see there by just holding the ball, he's trying to slow the play of the ball down, like Barry McDermott said before, to give his teammates a chance to get back with the referee.
Might have gone the other way, that, Stuart, perhaps?
Well, interestingly, the touches on the far side calls for the hands-in penalty. Chris Kendall on the other side went the other way, so that's how close it was.
Fair enough. Warrington won't be complaining. Charnley caught a little high by Liam Watts again.
They haven't had much field position, the Warrington Wolves. Josh Charnley and the rest of the Warrington side with 5 metres away from the halfway line. What would they do for some good field position, a bit of possession, test the resilience of this Castleford defence?
Tazi goes down. We play the ball here to Clark. Now Austin. Austin gets it away to Ratchford, but he's quickly watched by Michael Shenton.
That was a good read, wasn't it, to come down and shut the full-back down.
Deck Patton drops the ball off again to Hill. Last tackle coming up again for Warrington here. 25 metres out. Patton with a little hop, skip and jump. Gives it to Austin. And that's good work by Rankin.
Well, that's the threat, isn't it, of Blake Austin. He runs the ball a lot, running it on the last play, then gets caught in possession. Chris Hill come up with 2 caddies. They were trying to generate that quick play of the ball for a backline shot. They couldn't quite manage it.
Okay, go.
This is Minikin again. He's filling the void, of course, left by Jake Webster's departure. The 23-year-old.
I think he's done a decent job as well, hasn't he, Greg Minikin? Fitted in there, slotted in on the right-hand side.
Well, the big boots to fill, there's no doubt about that. Jake Webster was a real handful, wasn't he? Minikin moving to the centre this year. Watts now, once again, gets the arm free. Found Truman, but good work by King and McShane all on the ground. Is this too long? They won't stay in the in-goal area. It's a great kick. Ratchford has to run it back, but only makes about 5 or 6 metres before he's grounded by Shenton and Greg Eden.
Eddie, it's a good kick, it's a good chase. You've got to be aware of what Paul McShane's going to do. You don't know whether he's going to get out of dummy half, try and isolate a man. And that's the skills that he's got.
This is Marmo. Every time Josh Charnley, by the way, was tackled, he's looking questioningly at the referee, Chris Kendall.
Well, they're getting frustrated, the players, just like the Warrington fans as well.
And that's Austin with a kick downfield, going for a 40-20 here. The ball has bounced the wrong way for him. Bounced absolutely perfectly for Matautia.
It was an early kick, kicked on the 4th tackle. Just Charlie needs to be careful there. Him and Matautia just tangled up on the floor. Cats Tigers, we've got 16 minutes on the clock. They've controlled those opening 16 minutes, played the ball and played the tempo of the game at their own pace.
Warrington feel that they were a touch unlucky to come away from the south of France with nothing last week. They scored 4 tries to 3 in Perpignan. And of course Sam Tompkins' penalty was slotted over from 40 metres out and won the game. But the point Phil made earlier about the penalties and the errors, they had 17 errors in the game against the Catalan Dragons. That cost them dearly.
It did, Eddie, and it's where you make those errors, what tackle it. So you make those errors as well to lead your opponents to that decent field position. And again, the Warrington fans just getting on Chris Kendall's back. We know that Warrington aren't having it their own way. They're struggling to get forward.
Here's Ratchford. Is it a bit like water on a stone, Stuart, when the crowd are on the referee's back? Do they eventually get their way?
Well, I would like to think not. It made me more determined not to give a penalty.
Yeah, they didn't call you Red Card Cummings, did they?
Not that I know.
Well, this is the question I asked before. What does Deck Patton bring into this team, Eddie? That's his 3rd kick, and really at this level, 2 of them have been poor. One's gone straight out on the full, one's gone over the dead ball line, and the standards in Super League mean that that's a bad outcome, really, if your opposition start with a tap 20 restart. They've got 7 tackles here to make easy ground. No skill required to take the possession.
Eden takes the first of those 7. This is McShane. Goes left, and it's with Nathan Massey. What a servant this fella's been, by the way, for Castleford. He didn't score at all last year, but he really does the hard stuff, doesn't he? He does the hard yards.
Yeah, he does. He made his debut as a 17-year-old, didn't he? In the cup against Lock Lane. He's a good player there. He is again, Eddie.
And a screen from the sidelines, that was forward. That's a great ball from Shenton to Eden, who got clumped as he went inside, and Charlie finished him off. Shinton here again.
Surrender!
It's not going Warrington's way, and the coach is looking a bit concerned at the moment, Stephen Price. It's his 100th game in charge as a first-team coach. I mentioned that to him before the match. He didn't know anything about it.
And if you compare and contrast the end of the sets for Castleford Tigers, Paul McShane, who a number of times has popped out from 9, kicked the ball low and hard, and when a 9 gets out and makes that kick, it means all the kick chasers are onside, all 99% of the time. So as long as they're expecting it and they've got good reactions, it consistently ends up being a good team kick, whereas Warrington, I don't think they can boast the same outcome. Sadly lacking a little bit in the opening. We've got 19 minutes of this game.
42nd game in charge for Warrington for Stephen Price. Tomorrow we'll see Wigan against Huddersfield. It's 7 o'clock on Sky Sports Arena. The champions taking on the team sitting at the foot of the table. And one of the early front-runners, Salford, beaten last week by Saints, go to Catalan on Saturday. Go to the south of France, 4:55. Sky Sports Arena again. There you go, Stuart. The crowd has got its way.
And that's the biggest cheer of the night as well, Eddie. That penalty, Joe Philbin. He does create havoc every time he carries the ball forward.
And look how far Blake Austin kicks it. It's getting 40 metres. Tries harder than any other side. Sometimes he might try a bit too ambitious to gain ground, but he does certainly make sure this game's about gaining ground. He doesn't waste that opportunity on a penalty kick to touch.
He did well then, because as I say, it's a stiff breeze that's blowing at Warrington tonight, and Warrington playing into the face of it in this first half, so Castleford can expect some problems maybe from that in the second 40. We're midway through the first though, and it's 4-0 to Castleford. Warrington looking here to get over the try line themselves. This is Patton, booms a long pass out here, and Jake Marmo will go in for the equalising try. Well, he made a debut as a substitute against his former club Huddersfield last month. He was a substitute last week in Perpignan. Former Huddersfield man got 5 tries last year after 12 tries in 2017 for the Huddersfield Giants. And here he is at Warrington on the score sheet.
Well, they needed a slice of luck, or they needed the nod from the referee. Penalty earned by Joe Philbin, who fights hard to play his ball. It's not been fluid by Warrington on their attack, and when they're in this good field position, you think that Deck Patton, with a short option and an option out the back, is a little unclear and unsure who he's going to hit, but he sees the option out wide. He's skillful enough to be able to find Jake Mamo, and there's the first try for the Wolves.
This is good recognition from Deck Patton. Look at that. He reacts to a poor read in defence. Castleford come in, try and shut the play down. Then he realises that there's space for that man and delivers the pass superbly to Jake Mamo.
And so it's now left to Stefan Ratchford to try and add the extras. He scored points in all 4 games so far as Stefan Ratchford. It's a big kick in terms of this match, but for him himself, a huge personal milestone beckons with this kick. If he kicks it successfully, it will be 1,000 points for Stefan Ratchford in his career. It's on its way. We'll have to wait to celebrate maybe a little bit longer. 4 apiece. 22 minutes or thereabouts on the watch.
Well, I've criticised Deck Patton's kicks. I can't criticise this pass to set up this try, because it's absolutely marvellous. If you think he's got a split second here with his left eye there as he scans the pitch to see where the Castleford defenders are. They've rushed up to put pressure to close down the space, and he's been able to find the player in his space who want to score the try. Brilliant ball there from the left-sided half-back. He plays on this side more often than not. Blake Austin on the other, and given responsibility, he's got the Wolves on the scoreboard.
So there is Jake Marmo, just gone out to your screen, 24 years of age, formerly with Huddersfield. Prolific try scorer for the Giants in 2017. And his total's up and running here. That's a solid run.
Well, that's how you run onto a ball, Eddie. You pick your target out, you don't change, and you just call for that ball.
Well done, Greg Minikin. He stood his ground.
Well, you've got to. You can't jump out the way, can you? Know that you'd like to sometimes.
Oh, hello, there's something got on here. I don't think Bryson Goodwin was particularly impressed with something.
He ends up going in the wrong direction, doesn't he? And I don't know whether there's a bit of a... He's unhappy with... Yeah, I thought at first there might have been something a little bit sinister, but I don't think so. I think Castleford players trying to get the player on his back. It's awkward, it's clumsy, but I don't think there's anything else.
Well, he doesn't think so. He doesn't agree with you.
He doesn't like the angle his knee and ankle have been put into.
Well, we're often told that the tackle's complete when the player's on the ground. At what point is that tackle complete?
Well, it wasn't completed then because the ball is always up off the ground, so they are entitled to push him back. I don't actually think there's any foul play in that.
Yeah, the ball, there's the ball, it's not on the ground.
Well, Nathan Massey, he's every right to try and turn him on his back. It's unfortunately, just gets caught in an awkward position.
If they lost the ball in the tackle, how do we restart this?
I think the referee had already blown a penalty, hadn't he? Or he'd blown the whistle anyway.
We're going to go tackle for 2. Incident's going to go on report, OK? It's going to go on report.
Well, he's put the incident on report, but Stuart, your view is that Castleford were perfectly entitled to do what they did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The tackle wasn't complete.
And he hasn't blown for the penalty, and that's nice. Massey and Bryson Goodwin shaking hands. Massey apologises.
And Bryson Goodwin was the first to put his hand up, wasn't he?
And he took the apology.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's much for the disciplinary committee to look at.
I think sometimes the player might be unsure. He knows his knee or his ankle is hurting. They get a luxury on a TV game to watch the replay on the big screen, and he probably accepted that it was accidental.
And the good part about it is, even though he's just had another word with the trainer on the run, he's staying out there, Bryson Goodwin. He does look terribly well, must be said. Wobbly, bouncy ball all the way past Matautia and finds touch from the boot of Blake Austin.
Blake Austin stepping up over on the right-hand side, try and take control. Big defensive set here now from them.
Well, let's get the first visit to the sideline, and we'll join Bill Arthur, who's been ferreting out the news for us tonight.
Eddie, a bit of a debate going on the sideline about whether Bryson Goodwin is OK to continue. Physio and doctor signalling to each other, and some concern about him, but Goodwin himself has waved away the physio. He is still limping a little bit, but it does seem to be improving for him. I'm pretty certain he's going to stay out there.
Yeah, I think he waved away the physio as well when he just came and had a word with him. And the signal from the field was he was going to carry on, and he's still out there in the defensive line on this near side, number 3, bottoming a screen.
Well, that pass wasn't quite good enough for Nathan Massey then to help the defensive line. Now they've got to try and get forward again on the 4th play here. Oh, McShane looking around. Does he go from dummy half?
Massey again here. Matt Cook, noticed, was the man who played the ball to him. Cook starting tonight on the bench, notching up his 260th career appearance. This is high. Difficult kick again. Into the breeze, we're swirling everywhere. Is that high? It is.
Yeah, it gives you so much confidence when you know that you've got a teammate like Stephen Ratchford at the back, who not only goes to catch every ball, his success rate must be up there, one of the best, and the footwork at the line beats his opposite, Peter Matautia, the swinging arm, just changing direction at the line.
Discipline, boys.
So the penalty from Austin takes Warrington to the 30-metre mark this time. Interesting. Toby King deciding to have a little run himself. Darryl Clark, once upon a time off Castleford Tigers, of course, at dummy half, gives it to Chris Hill.
And he's very repetitive in there, making 10 metres, doesn't need support runners around him, he's just got his own strength and power. Pull that up then with another strike down the right-hand side before. It looks like they've got a whole team lined up. What can they do here now to break through Castleford's defence? Well, they've lost the ball there.
He managed to grasp it back to himself, Ben Murdoch-Masilla, before it hit the deck. Here's Philbin, who nearly got through the line. Clarkson and Watts dealing with that threat. Warrington trying to ramp up the pace here with Clark. Dancing away from Massey. Important tackle it was from Truman. Ben Murdoch-Masilla is at dummy half. Austin dabs the ball in, ricochets off a leg. Referee wipes the tackle count down. Well, that could be a contentious call later. Did the ball play the man, or did the man play the ball? Chris Kendall only had one view. We might see it again. This is Murdoch-Masilla.
Good shot from Truman on Ben Murdoch-Masilla.
Take a backward step from him either. Here's a drive to the line. Short. Just short, Toby King.
Held up. Tackle 3.
Or he's held up over the line, says Chris Kendall.
The first effort he didn't get over the line. There you go, 6 to go. Yeah, he just stands his ground as well, Nathan Massey.
I suppose the foot did almost lift, and anyway, it doesn't matter anymore because Warrington are on the charge here with Ratchford. Wide they come, 2 for Mamo. Jake Mamo gets 2 in the match in the first half for Warrington. Well, there you go. Great start to his Warrington career in front of these fans. For Jake Mamo on the end of 2 good passes wide. And Warrington hit the front, 8-4.
Well, Nathan Massey, I think he's unlucky here. The ball ricochets off him. It's another set of 6 for the Wolves. They go close to the line. And then when they do get an opportunity, they shift it over to their left-hand side. Chris Hill out the back to Deck Patton. And then what about that lovely ball from Stephen Ratchford? He hits the button, hits the ball straight on the button. Look at that quality play and the speed from Jake Mamo to finish it off.
Well, when I looked at the 17s before the start of the game, I did think that Warrington had an advantage on the bench, and the impact of Philbin and Ben Murdoch-Masila has had an impact on the game. They're big men to handle, they run hard, they run strong, and Castleford have to commit men not only to stop them but to take them to ground.
Exactly the same place or thereabouts where he missed before. Missed for 1,000 points. He's got it. He's got the personal milestone. He's got the extra 2 for Warrington. They lead by 10 points to 4. Mamo's tried, but I tell you what, the more you see that ricochet from Massey, he was unlucky.
Well, the referee has to make a live call, and he wiped 6 more, but they've shown there, haven't they? With 6 great passes there out to the wing. That's fantastic play. If you want to score tries in rugby league nowadays, playing on the left wing is probably the best position to stand. You've not only got to stand there, you've got to time your run to perfection and hope you get a pass as well delivered as that one.
So 2 tries from Jake Mamo, 1 successful kick from Stephen Ratchford. And Castleford, after being 4-0 up now, find themselves 6 points adrift. Let's get some Warrington injury news. Is it about Bryce Goodwin, Bill?
It is, so much for our medical knowledge and instant diagnosis, because he's gone off the pitch. No sooner had we spoken than Warrington took him off. He's gone straight down to the dressing room. So obviously that injury picked up in the tackle, a bit more serious than first thought. He tried to run it off. The physios have got the final say in it.
Thanks, Bill. Mike Cooper with a nice offload. The ball finds its way to Darrell Clark.
Move, Jesse! Wait, go for it.
Murdoch-Masila is the dummy half. Cooper again.
Eddie, I'm just trying to look how Warrington have reshuffled. It looks like Ben Curry and Jack Hughes are both over on this left side.
Here they come down the left again with Ratchford. Mamo is on a hat-trick, of course, down this left flank. Curry at dummy half. Pat hoists this kick wide. He was underneath it, where he was touched in the air. He was by Toby King. Feet weren't on the ground.
No, just any kind of contact, and Toby King.
A split second in it. There it is.
Well, that's enough, Eddie, isn't it? The referee, Chris Kendall, comes up with the right call. Greg Eden jumps for the ball, pouches the ball, and then there is contact from King.
And it's smart by Greg Eden because he tucks those knees up. He's trying to stay in the air for as long as possible, knowing at some point those chasing defenders, the temptation might be too great, and it was.
Just a bit back. Like I do for those, it's on me, control. Back.
The referee wants to take control of this situation, so tells Castleford to go back and go when he's ready, which he is now. Jesse Senilifeo trying to drag him over that far side.
He's getting big minutes as well this year. Jesse Senilifeo, along with Liam Watts, the longer they're on, the stronger they get, the more involvements they have. Two forwards in fantastic form this year.
9 minutes of this first half remaining. Castleford's 100% record this year is at stake and under threat. Minikin goes down, tackled by Patton. Here's Alex Foster now. McShane finds Liam Watts. Here's Truman. Truman to Matautia, wide. Eden.
Good defence.
But he still manages to get the ball away to Matautia again. Last tackle coming up here. Penalty. Criminal for Warrington to concede a penalty with last tackle approaching.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Eddie. He flops on. Matautia's fighting to get up and play that ball. They've done ever so well to get the numbers over.
Bit of an elbow there as well from Chris Hill.
You know, they got the numbers over on the right-hand side, and then they give that penalty away. As I say, poor penalty to give away that.
So another set of 6 from 9 metres out for Castleford. Chris Clarkson here. He gets very close again to the line. An opportunity for the Tigers here to strike back. Picked up nicely on the half volley by Watts. Think about offload.
Yeah.
The ball.
He tried to get the offload around the player, Darryl Clark. Couldn't get hold of it. And although Darryl Powell raises his eyebrows, his quality, particularly in this season, has been of the highest order on that occasion. I think there's a little bit going on with Darryl Clark as well. He's played with and he's familiar with the habits of Liam Watts, makes himself as big as he can. And when that ball is around, probably touching the back of his leg or his calf, he wriggles in such a manner and fashion that just loosens the grip and grasp of Liam Watts.
So the opportunity for Castleford is gone, and Warrington have the head and feed underneath their own sticks. Charnley for Warrington now. Couple tries this season for Josh Charnley. Solid defence. Toby King's run. Chris Hill.
Well, both of these
teeth with the drive up the middle.
Both of these teams will be thriving on this pressure. Like you said before, Eddie, it's a big game.
Oh.
Speaking of big game, what about that for a big run? Picked out Jake Troom and Ben Murdoch-Masilla.
Darryl Clark trying to jink his way past this defence. Gets to tackle number 5. And here is Austin again. Oh, and he tried to find touch. Instead, all he found was the chest of Greg Eden.
Good positioning from Greg Eden. He was expecting that ball to be kicked. He was in perfect position to get it. Blake Austin, him in the decent tackle. Look at him, stabs the ball straight into the ground. Takes a kind bounce.
Tautier again for Castleford. Good when he strikes from the back. Now then, it's Jordan Rankin. That pattern doing well initially and helped out by Chris Hill.
Darryl, come on. Go for
McShane. Watts. Fires the pass wide.
5. Move, Ben! Go 5.
Truman.
Clear.
High kick to the corner here.
That's fine.
And the ball runs
20 and 0.
touch and goal. So that's a 7 tackle set now for Warrington coming up.
And Stephen Ratchford just letting that man Greg Eden make a play for the ball.
Big Benny Westwood's coming on.
Time off.
I don't know whether you can call him Big Benny Westwood anymore with Big Ben Murdoch-Masilla
No,
out
he's
there.
the second biggest Ben, but he'll always be
Big Bens.
He'll always be Super Benny Westwood.
Super duper,
He'll
right.
tell you all day and all night as well that he's Super Benny Westwood.
And he's only 37 years young as well.
They've missed him. He's coming back from a ban, and I'm sure he'll be ultra focused, determined to let everybody know what they've been missing over the last 3 weeks.
There he is.
First touch. Gives you 100% every time. Here is Clark. Austin. This is what he's good at. Gets the ball away to Darryl Clark.
Well, the likes of Darryl Clark and Blake Austin are hard to defend against because they're unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do.
Westwood again. Second touch this set. Thinks about the offload. Just couldn't get it away. Darryl Clark to the right-hand side with Austin again. Short ball, Murdoch-Masilla. He must look well in defence to Castleford. There's Ratchford. Back it comes to Austin again. Crossfield kick. Looking for Mamo. Finding Jake Mamo. Going for the hat-trick. Getting the ball away to Hughes. Hughes, brilliant. Jinked his way past the defenders. Fool, the ball ends up. The Blacken's going to get a basketball pass away. Held on to it in the end. And Jack Hughes, the match-winning try against Castleford here 3 years ago in a 14-11 victory. The last home win against Castleford. Is Lightning going to strike twice for him and for Warrington? They stretch the lead just before half-time.
Well, another player that looks like he's picked up a knocking score in that try. Beautiful kick, beautiful challenge and take by Jake Mamo, but again, look at the damage and attention Ben Murdoch-Masilla requires. There's 3 players involved in the play of the ball. There's 2 late defenders, which means there must be some space somewhere. And Castleford do almost enough to cover up that lack of space. But Jack Hughes, filling in at centre, scores a valuable try for the Wolves.
Well, good play, wasn't it? When Hughes gets this ball, he gets back inside. James Cleary goes for the intercept. It just seems to open up, and the man who's gone into the centre position scores the try that pleases coach Steve Price.
He really does wear his heart on his sleeve, the Warrington coach, doesn't he? And as I said earlier, it's his 100th game in charge as a first-team boss. His 42nd for Warrington, 58 as head coach of St George Illawarra Dragons in the NRL. So Ratchford again, it's slightly easier than the first 2. 1,000 points in his career. 1,002 points in his career. Warrington 16-4, 2.5 minutes to half-time without Bryson Goodwin. Bill.
And the potential for Bryson Goodwin to be out for the rest of this game, still not exactly certain, but there he is sitting disconsolately on the sidelines, and it could be that he sustained ligament damage in this incident. He tried to carry on. It became apparent that it wasn't going to be quite that simple. He's had a quick check. They are going to have another look at half-time in the hope that he might shake it off, but they're not particularly optimistic about that.
Thanks, Bill. 2 minutes off half-time then. Warrington with a 12-point advantage. Castleford Tigers, league leaders, unbeaten thus far. This is their big test tonight, though. And I suppose when you think that it was Jack Hughes who's filling in for Bryson Goodwin on this near side in the centres, Bryson Goodwin could be forgiven for thinking it should have been me.
Covers the position well, doesn't he, Jack Hughes? Only a back row, but played centre a few times. Very impressed with the impact this man's made. Look at him again, meters after contact, can't be dominated, can't be turned on his back.
He was Warrington's Young Player of the Year last year, Joe Philbin, and he made a real impact every time he came off the bench, and every time he started, he ran really strongly all year.
Terry, do you think you could play him from the start? Lamatasi started for 20 minutes last week, he's had 20 minutes today. Would you think he got the engine to play for 80?
Well, probably has, but I think the impact that he brings off the bench, I think he's explosive, I think he's direct. He tucks the ball under his wing, he doesn't look to pass the ball, he looks to make a dent to the defensive line, that's why I like him.
Can he not do that from the kick-off, the start of the game?
Could do, but the impact from the bench, Phil, lift the side.
Minikin will play the ball. Here is Liam Watts. Warrington will be content to turn round with this 12-point advantage. Truman down the middle of the field into the arms of Ratchford.
Isn't this game swung in the second quarter? I thought Castleford Tigers had that opening quarter. They looked like they were controlling it. But this terrific Warrington side rode out that period, stuck with, even though they went behind on the scoreboard, they kept the composure. They've stuck to the game plan, and as we've said a number of times, the bench has changed the tempo of the game for them.
Well, Powell is downstairs waiting to talk to his players in the dressing room at half-time. I must say, from a Warrington point of view, it's good to see that Ben Curry has lasted the full 40 minutes of his comeback. Stephen Price, I'm sure he's not listening to the commentary, even though he nodded with that comment about Ben Curry. I think he nodded because he's quite satisfied with the way that went. He's talking to Andrew Henderson on the sideline down there. Jake Marmo's 2 tries, 1 from Jack Hughes. Ratchford added 2 goals to take him to 1,002 points in his career. Castleford Tigers taking the lead on the 7th minute, courtesy of Greg Eden's try. It's Warrington who lead then at half-time by 16 points to 4, and the Castleford Tigers' 100% record goes on the line in the second half. It's gone back to Richardson. Richardson with the drop goal. He's kicked it!
My name is Liv. I'm a virtual ambassador for Renault Kadjar, created to experience real emotions, to explore, to feel. Strong, powerful. While everyone is trying to live in the virtual world, I'm making it in the real one. You should try it. Get into the real world with new Renault Kadjar from only £199 a month.
It's big, but it's not Euro Millions big. This Friday, it's a massive £53 million jackpot.
He's my data self. Hello. We met at Experian. Cheers. I help him with financial decisions.
Find out how your data self can help you make better financial decisions at Experian.
Who knew you could visit the top of the world without it costing you the earth? Live the high life without your budget going through the roof. Or enjoy 5-star comforts at a comfortable price. Discover more of what you could do with unforgettable travel at up to 60% off at secretescapes.com. At All Protected.
So much confusion. The beat your renewal quote guarantee. Don't be confused. Be
Prices. Hurry, winter sale now.
I've got a man friend.
Oh, a man friend. Yeah, well, if...
Oh, have you? Oh, she's kept that quiet, hasn't she? Where did you find him? Well, I met him at the golf club the day I was going to play golf.
And you're happy together?
Yeah, because he doesn't live with me.
Did you know that the current Sky Arts collection is available to all Sky TV customers? Yup, that's you. Go to Catch Up TV and select Sky Arts to see it all. There's something for everyone. Go on, take a look. From Urban Myths' Marilyn Monroe to Matthew Bourne's Swan Lake. From Brian Johnson's A Life on the Road to Simon Rattle Conducts the Seasons. It's all there, with all this other stuff. Landscape artistry at your fingertips with Catch Up TV.
Take the Premier League.
Twice per game, the referee is allowed to join in.
And a team of football mad comedians.
Offside!
Should be little place.
Got any mirrors in your house?
And perhaps weave a little bit of magic.
A feast of football coming up for you on Sky Sports from the Premier League. Crystal Palace and Brighton in the A23 derby. That's on Saturday, 11:30 a.m. That is on Sunday, followed by a double header. Chelsea Wolves, 1 p.m. for Super Sunday. Again, Sky Sports Premier League, same channel, 4:15 for Man United's trip to take on Arsenal. Well, tomorrow we bring you action from the the Sky Bet Championship as Norwich, who are top of the table, take on Swansea, 7 p.m. Sky Sports Football. Same channel on Sunday for the West Midlands derby. Birmingham, Aston Villa, 11:30 a.m. start for that. We're in round 5 of the Betfred Super League. It's half-time at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. The home side of a 12-point lead. 2 tries for Jake Mamo in his first start for the Warrington Wolves. Jack Hughes coming on for the injured Bryson Goodwin to score in the corner. Castleford Tigers with just a solitary try through Greg Eden, his 6th of the season. Well, let's have a look at the match stats at half-time. In the defeat to the Catalan Dragons last week, Steve Price bemoaned a 53% completion rate. That much improved. 84% in the first 40 minutes for the Warrington Wolves. Preponderance of possession for the home side. The Castleford Tigers with 3 handling errors, no ball and little field position. However,
they will look at the start of that match and feel that they could and perhaps should have been further in front. More on that later. Steve Price, in his 100th game in charge of a senior side, delivers a few messages to his side at half-time. No doubt a happier dressing room than that was in the south of France just 6 days ago. The Castleford Tigers and Darryl Powell, well, they have injuries, they have absentees, and they've got 12 points to try and claw back. They're in a little bit of a hole at the moment, and certainly on their right edge they've got some defensive issues that they will need to fix up, and fix up quickly. Right, John Wells joins me here in studio. I said the Castleford Tigers will look at the start of that first 40 minutes, John. Scored first, all looked good, should have gone further in front. I mean, almost a perfect start for the Castleford Tigers, but just had 4 points to show for it.
Yeah, it is. We'll come back and we'll have a look at the reference, the first half statistics when we have a look at the first half action, the highlights from that, which of course, as you say, starts with the Greg Eden try off the boot off Paul McShane, really well weighted, knocked back, and then Greg Eden, the opportunist on the try scorer on 7 minutes, 4-0 Tigers.
Should have been a try.
The equivalent of an open goal, Brian. It's a chance on 10 minutes to go at least 8-0 up. 20 minutes had gone by before Patton picked out Marmo for the first of his 2 tries, and then 6 minutes later, Stefan Ratchford, this time a long sweeping move again out to that Castleford right edge, which looked to me, Brian, a little nervous, a little twitchy, if I'm honest. And then finally from Blake Austin's kick, this is the build-up to the Hughes try, well taken again by Marmo, and then Hughes shrugging off one, avoiding the attentions of another. Ratchford converts 16-4 half-time. Could have been a very different story. I'll now go back to the stats. What we spoke about pre-game was controlling the ruck and that early set battle. Well, I thought the Castleford had the upper hand of the early set battle. I think the Warrington Wolves grew into that game, and then they ended up controlling that ruck, which speaks to an awful lot of what they were able to do in attack and the time they were afforded on the ball.
If they're going to look at fix-ups at half-time, the Warrington Wolves, I would imagine the end of the sets will be something they'll look at. Phil pointed out in the commentary, a couple of Deck Patton's kicks, first one out on the full, the other one went dead, I mean, with no great challenge to the Castleford Tigers. He managed to rescue what could have been a really bad shift play with a miraculous pass for Jake Mamo's first try. So a bit of a mixed bag for Deck Patton at an individual level in the first half.
But something that he can take confidence from. So you'll forgive one kick for as a rangefinder, if you like. I think the pass for the first try for Mamo was exceptional. We'll take a closer look at that actually now. This was the first try, the build up to the first try. This is what I mean about control of the ruck. This is where Chris Hill had started to impose himself on the Castleford defence. Won the battle, quick play the ball. Now look at Joe Philbin. The work he'd done there pre-play set him up on the inside shoulder of Paul McShane. He holds Paul McShane because his run is so good. Cooper's ball holds McShane. He goes late. Now what happens? McShane is actually too far in on Patton. He can't affect Patton. The two outside him are considering it. The edge defence now, though, this time in Greg Minikin, they have bigger decisions to make in less time. He's overread it, and he's presented an opportunity for Deck Patton. This is what you're talking about where we're assessing the qualities of Deck Patton, though. He gets presented with that. He's able to pick the right option. We forget, we slow this down and we pause it and we ruminate over the finer details. There are split-second decisions. First of all for Greg Minikin, and second of all for Deck Patton, who I thought has acquitted himself well in that first 40.
What do the Castleford Tigers look at in that first 40 minutes that will give them confidence, give them hope of getting a result here tonight and remaining unbeaten to start the season?
It goes back to the start of the game, the early set battle in this second half and control of the ruck. The Warrington Wolves are excellent. I think it was Barry McDermott mentioned in commentary the effect that they had off the bench with the introduction of Ben Murdoch-Masilla, particularly Joe Philbin. The lines they are running, they're finding their front. The third man back for the Castleford Tigers is effectively removed from the defensive line, and that's where you lose a little line speed. They are an extremely dangerous team to face up against when you're on your back foot.
They may have something else in there going in their favour. Bryson Goodwin went off with an injury in that first 40 minutes. We know he's getting a fitness test. This was the injury that saw him removed from the field of play, bent backwards over his ankle. Obviously in a lot of pain, a lot of agony. Ryan Atkins not selected in this game, so Toby King playing the centres. Jack Hughes brought on, of course he scored a try, brought on to replace Bryson Goodwin. And this is Goodwin now working with the physios.
They're never good, Brian. They tend to tighten up as you sit down and as you take a rest. That will tighten up and that will become increasingly painful and he'll have increasingly less flexion. That said, you watch now. We've said that he'll start the second half.
Could be of benefit to the Castleford Tigers. I'm looking for positives for them to take into the second quarter.
If the Castleford Tigers are looking at whether Bryson Goodwin takes the field or not for the second half as their inspiration for a comeback, they're looking in the wrong place. The answers are inside that dressing room.
Okay, what answers do they have? They've got 40 minutes to rescue this game. Unbeaten to start season 2019 in the Betfred Super League. The Castleford Tigers trail by 12 at half-time. Well, the Warrington Wolves have absolutely responded to last week's disappointing defeat in the south of France. Can they go on and clinch this game? Eddie and the boys standing by to take you through the second half after this break.
You can do it when you're being Hewitt. This is Emma Mattress, awarded Best on Test Mattress by Which. Test one for 100 nights, risk-free with money-back guarantee. Emma, Best on Test Mattress by Which.
Looks like it's chicken night at flat 10.
Copy that.
Let's get those hot wings airborne. Order KFC on the Just Eat app today.
Tracy, I'm here to take you out for a walk.
But I'm not with Direct Line.
And that is why you've been waiting around for someone else to fix your problem, instead of enjoying a duck à l'orange with Sharon.
So saving Mr. Watkins here, when you realize you've got balance and bad. You missed out on becoming Tracy on Ice, all because you're not with Direct Line.
On Trivago, you can find a hotel in your ideal location straight from the map. See available hotels in your desired area, compare their prices from different websites, and find the right one for you.
It's the range clearance at Oak Furnitureland, so save £150 on this dining set. It's down to $4.99. But when it's gone, it's gone.
Trevor. Yeah? You're a private landlord, right? And your tenants are in a tough financial situation. They can't pay their rent, which is keeping you up at night. Yeah, but you're with Direct Line. They'll repay any unpaid rent until the tenants are out. So relax, Trevor. It's time for me to put you to sleep. Coco?
Landlords, Direct Line guarantees to beat the quote and renewal premium of other insurers for the same cover.
Cooker, 100 degrees boiling, and now also cold filtered drinking water. The tap that does it all. Go to cooker.co.uk for an introductory offer.
Riviera Travel River Cruises start from just $1199, but availability is limited. Don't miss out. Book now at rivieratravel.co.uk.
Pioneers pushed the boundaries. Technology gave us speed. Rivalries gave us drama. Television brought us closer. We gave it a home.
Vettel's done it again in 2012.
Here's to a new chapter.
Welcome to 2019, live on Sky Sports F1.
And it's lights out, and away we go!
Now available on demand.
When you play the Game of Thrones, you win, or you die.
Game of Thrones, every episode available now with the Ultimate On-Demand Pack.
Here's your moment. Takes it cleanly. We're in Warrington tonight for the first of 3 matches from the Betfred Super League this weekend. Tomorrow, we'll see the champions against the team sitting currently at the foot of the table. Huddersfield, 7 o'clock, Sky Sports Arena. And then on Saturday, the Catalan Dragons entertain Salford, 4:55 on Sky Sports Action for that one. Here at Warrington, teams emerging for the start of the second half, and Warrington with a handy 12-point lead. It's 16-4 to the Wolves at half-time. Wonder what words of wisdom Darryl Powell will have imparted to his players in that dressing room at half-time. Wonder if it will spark a second-half revival. They will have to, if Castleford's unbeaten start will continue. Anyway, we shall see in the next 40 minutes or so. Just allowing that kick-off to bounce again. It held up in the wind, which fooled him a little bit, and the Tigers were quickly on him once the ball got into his hands.
Well, Warrington will just look to continue where they left off in the first half, getting on with the job, and the lads talked about it. Running hard, and when Joe Philbin comes onto the field.
I think he's been hard done by here. You watch this here. Philbin's hanging on. Look, he's pulling him on top of it.
He pulled him in, he runs hard, he gets that penalty. Just sending Lefebvre off. Again, another one who'll feel hard done by. You said it before, Eddie, about that last week they made 17 errors, well, completing in the first half 84%. They're difficult to handle, aren't they, Warrington?
This is Westwood again for the Warrington Wolves. His 21st season as a player. Ratchford drops the pass off. Curry. Big chance for Warrington to extend the lead. Started the second half on the end of that pretty harsh penalty. Ben Murdoch-Mazilla. Oh! He ran straight at Matt Cook. Matt Cook managed to stand his ground. They get another penalty here for hands-on.
Another kick at goal.
It looks like the players are motioning towards the sideline, giving the signal. And Darryl Clark, I think it's Darryl Clark, has said so himself.
Look, it's interesting, Eddie. You said last week they outscored the Dragons 4-3, but Catalan Dragons kicked 2 penalty goals. Not only the one at the end that gave them that lead, but one more importantly earlier in the match. We have had this conversation, haven't we, before, but not many teams, it went out of fashion kicking goals, but I think points here against the Tigers could be vital at this stage, and this 2 takes it to a 3-score advantage.
Ratchford's the man who has got the chance again. Couple of tries against Castleford last August. A try in the 30-34 win here in June. And this for his 3rd successful kick of the night. Just to stretch the lead. Having an outstanding season for Warrington this year. Stefan Ratchford is 8th at the club. Makes no mistake, Warrington do extend the lead, 18 points to 4. I wonder if that is in the book as far as Steve Price is concerned. What were they saying half-time, Bill?
Eddie, the word from the Castleford Tigers camp, 18-4 down, but very positive about their prospects in this second half. Darryl Powell saying they need to tighten up their right edge defence. They've been caught out there on a couple of occasions. They've got to cut out the errors, too many of those. But notwithstanding that, they believe that they can find a way back into this game and can turn things round. Warrington Wolves coach Steve Price very pleased with the way his side have gone about the business. They too have got 1 or 2 defensive issues that they need to tighten up on just to shut out the Castleford Tigers, but very well aware that this phase of the game, this start of the second half, is going to be crucial, because this is when the Castleford Tigers will try and establish a foothold to get back into this game. And the good news for the Warrington Wolves is that Bryson Goodwin, who we saw having a fitness test during half-time, should be able to come back out, will be able to come back out. Whether they throw him back out there is another question. He's still sitting on the sidelines. The injury not as bad as first feared.
Good news for Bryson Goodwin. Thanks, Bill. Here is Blake Austin. Gets the pass away to Westwood. Westwood thought about giving the return. Might think again here. There he is. Bryson Goodwin just keeping going on the bike. Pedaling a long way, getting nowhere. Well claimed by Michael Shenton.
Good taking, yeah. Jake Marmot all over him then.
Good reaction.
See what the line speed here's like from the Wolves. Every time those balls go in the air, you've got to be brave. A penalty here.
Yes, offside.
Trying to get up quick, the line speed, to apply some pressure onto Castleford. He stood in front of the referee, Ben Curry. Chris Kendall calls him straight away.
Well, we've got a few to pick from there on the left-hand side. So here come Castleford in the shape of Foster.
And the ball's come loose.
You get another penalty because that was stolen.
And that's important for Castleford Tigers. Talked in the first 10 minutes about how Castleford Tigers had dominated field possession with smart players like Paul McShane, Rankin and Truman pulling the strings. They took advantage, but after that they had virtually no field possession whatsoever, and that was when Warrington came back into the game and started to dominate.
You've seen this before, Eddie, haven't you? Penalty, try. The Tigers need it now.
Once or twice we've said that over the past 30 years. This is Truman, Rankin, Matautia, Shenton. Oh, he's dropped it.
No, he was on as well, wasn't he? He was over the try line there. Michael Shenton keeps hold of that ball. Good defence from Warrington. Just dislodges that ball. He thinks he's going over the try line. Like, just hits him with absolutely everything. He would have had the weight to go over the line, and Darryl Powell, coach, knows that chance that's gone begging. That's terrific defence from Warrington on the goal line. And Eddie, you talked about centres and second rows. I think it's the most valuable player and the most valuable addition to your squad. A player that can play second row and centre. He's quick enough for one, brave enough for another. And Warrington have got a number of them in their ranks.
So scrum is fed, and here is Josh Charnley. He drew a blank last week in Perpignan, did Charnley. Well, I'm not quite sure what Matt Cook could do then.
Well, if he pulls his arm away, he knows that he's going to give a penalty away. Gives the penalty away, but Josh Charnley traps his arm in.
Well, Chris Kendall's called Michael Shenton to him.
Yeah. My message is it's 3 penalties all in the rug this half. You need to smarten up in that area or I'll take over action.
Smarten things up.
We're working hard above the ground on Josh Charnley. Look, plays in. He's very dominant when he gets forward, but he just traps his arm in, knowing that he'll get a penalty from the referee.
Murdoch Masilla at full speed, straight at Shenton. Clark the dummy half, it's Cooper. Cooper goes down. Clark waits at dummy half. Across the line to Patton. Patton looks for the runner. It's Austin. Short ball to Curry. Tackled by Rankin low down. It's Austin again. He finds Westwood.
He pushes up Ben Westwood. He wants that ball. Hungry for work. Almost gets a try for his effort.
Darryl Clark fires the pass to Patton. Short ball. Important challenge that was by Rankin again. Nice little kick through, but well watched by McShane, and what a good run from him. He just nudged Patton out of the way and made 10 very good meters.
He's got a lot to think about, hasn't he?
Got a bang in the face for his pains as well.
Paul McShane, does he take the Warrington play? Does he drop back for that kick? As you say, just took one for the cause.
Phil been working hard round the ruck, getting out of the way. Matautia taking on 2 bends.
Castleford have been impressive this season, Eddie. McShane seems to be okay to stay on the field. This will be mightily impressive if they can dig themselves out of this hole. They're trying to do that now with coming wide to the left. Shenton, can he find Eden?
Austin saw to it that he didn't. Last tackle here for Castleford. Truman all along the deck. Picked up by Jake Marmot.
Turn the ball well, don't they? The back three for Warrington. You can see again they're looking to fight for every single player. Going into some thick challenges as well from the Cast defenders. Liam Watson, look to see how much ground he covers in a game. Not been off yet. 48 minutes he stayed on the field. again involved in another tackle.
Bryson Goodwin is anxious to return to the fray if he possibly can. They're doing all they can, the Warrington medical staff, to make sure he can. And 9 minutes of this second half. It's the one penalty goal. Patton for Warrington dinks it over the top. It's a big chase on here. Tautier grounds the ball in goal.
Played for and got that. You see the moment that Warrington and the Warrington kicker has the ball in his hand, the play immediately outside him, Ben Curry. He's on his toes and thinks with the right bounce of the ball he might get a better reward, but as it is, a goal line dropout, sustained pressure, and Castleford again getting the deep breaths, getting the composure. It's a great chase from Warrington.
10 seconds. McShane with this goal line dropout. He's got 5 seconds to get it away, and he does in time. Stars Patton. Philbin again. Oh, that's a good hit.
Well, that's on to deal with him, isn't it? Get underneath him.
Great hit, that's by Jack O'Neill.
Did the same to Lee Jewett last week. If you run straight at him, players are going to learn pretty soon that you can hit them and drive them backwards. This time he's round the legs.
Former England under 16 international is Jack O'Neill. Great tackle that. Here is Philbin. Back it comes to Austin. Short ball, Masilla! He carries 2 with him and he gets the ball down. Chris Kendall's not 100% convinced yet. So he's going to hand this upstairs to video referee Robert Hicks. But there's a try on the field. And I think from up here, we were a little bit further away than Chris Kendall. I think we're all agreed this is a try for Big Ben too.
I said before, he's unstoppable, isn't he? Over on the right-hand side, he always tries to pick out one of the smaller players. Plays what's in front of him. He's got Paul McShane and Truman in front. The power, the size, comes off the back of a quick play. The ball, he's got defenders not knowing what's going on, just backing up, which just opens the door for the big man to get over the try line.
For 11 metres, that's taking him home.
For 11 metres, he's got 2 players, and he does. He carries himself, the ball, and 2 defenders over the line, and I'm certain he gets this ball down for a try.
It'll be his second of the season. He's got a try in a 32-20 win at Huddersfield. He's got a try here that increases the Warrington lead to 22-4 against Castleford. It's less than half an hour to go. Warrington taking a stranglehold on this match.
Well, we first saw him do this for Salford when he came over to Superland. Some nice quick passing, and then he put himself in the spaces in between 2 of the faces of this Castleford defence. Ran through it, and with his power and the momentum behind, it was impossible that he could be stopped from that part of the field. All on the back of an outstanding kick from Dick Patton. I criticised his kicks at the start of the match. Well, his kick to win the goal line dropout has probably just given them the match-winning try.
Lee Breers punching the air with delight. I must say, by the way, a thank you to Lee Breers. He sent me a lovely text during the week when I announced my impending retirement. And thank you to everyone who sent the texts and the messages this week. As Ratchford adds the extras, some very kind words, some very unkind words.
We have to pay back for those badges that he created, those Breers for Britain.
He mentioned the Breers for Britain badges, he did.
Do you know, how do you stop that man when you...
There he is. But still the best pound for pound number 6 we had in this country.
Outstanding play, yeah. Lots of skill, lots of drive and determination. Unfortunately, can't bring himself to run the St Helens 10K on Sunday, but maybe that's another story.
He's probably on the first tee at the same time on Sunday morning.
With a cup of tea in his hand, probably.
Move, Chris! Wait!
Big Ben Murdoch Marcella looked like you were in that 10K, I think, on Sunday, Barry. You're going to be flying past that finish line. With a tough competition between you and Terry, and he'll get the gold, silver and bronze in that. For the Steve Prescott Foundation.
I'm pretty sure I can guess the order, and I can guess the man who unselfishly will stay at the back and just encourage those slow runners and say, keep going.
This is Westwood.
Move, Paul!
So we'll all be exhausted next week, is that what you're telling me?
No. It's too easy this for Warrington, isn't it?
Cooper.
Move, Jesse!
Last tackle coming up.
Stay square! Go,
Austin. Nice little chip over.
Surrender!
He took that well, as it turned out.
Tough task for him, wasn't it? 71 metres carrying the ball. and Warrington said too easy. We're getting through the line, over the line, meters after contact, and now it's difficult for Cass to gain any momentum going forward.
Well, they're finding it really tough to get through this Warrington defensive line. They've won 8 and lost 6 of their matches away from home last year, Castleford, but in 22 seasons of Super League, the winning ratio is only 38% when they're on the road. It's an attempt at a 40-20, but again, it was against the wind. It bounces nicely for Warrington. Latchford feeds Charnley.
Just kicking for distance as well, trying to split the winger and the fullback, not allowing them to catch the ball on the full.
Well, Terry, I think they're hoping to attack here now with the defence, and they shoot up forward there. Jack O'Neill's one of them, hoping that Warrington will make some of the mistakes that they made last week in possession. It hasn't been the case. They're certainly not offering a welcome invitation for Castleford to get back into the game. Errors in their own half have been at a premium.
Jason Clark's on for Warrington. He's only started one match so far, the Australian. The other Australian, Blake Austin, is scragged to the floor. And that was by Junior Moores. Oh, this is difficult. It's wind at their backs. Warrington are making hay with the kicking game.
Well, they knew as well, as soon as he caught that ball, knew where the try line was. He had to get to the ground quickly, otherwise he would have been forced over the try line and would have conceded the second goal line dropout of the evening.
You know that they've scored 24 points, Warrington, and they are in control of this game. I think that the defence that they are showing will please their coach, Stephen Price.
Also the response to the narrow loss. They went over to Catalan. There were a number of areas they weren't happy with. Steve Price didn't chuck any excuses, didn't talk about that last minute Sam Tompkins penalty that ultimately gave the Dragons the victory. Just talked about how they could improve. And we've got 55 minutes on the clock. Their attack has been pretty good, but the defence has been outstanding.
Godo just could not take this pass in from Rankin. It was just behind him, actually.
You can't always gauge how effective a defence is, but it's a little bit of an indicator when your side has only missed 5 tackles. And they've pressured, they've hustled, they've hurried. Castleford, again, unbeaten until tonight. Although they weren't perfect against OKR, they went into this game confident, knowing they were down on troops, down on numbers, but still had the team to put in a good performance. They've been outplayed in every aspect of the game so far.
Mabo, remember he's on a hat-trick. Those 2 quick-fire tries in the first half. Here's Cooper, down the middle, attracting 3. Oops, Jack O'Neill might only be 19, but
he's a terrier, isn't he?
He doesn't take a backward step. There he is again, involved in that tackle.
They've got a big future, former Ascombe Junior, now a champion school player.
Austin, attacking the line, Austin. Shane got him down as best he could. Darryl Clark, Jason Clark, Patton, Ratchford, Hughes, flicks the pass, knocked on by Mamu.
All early passes, when that ball was moved over to the left-hand side, they're giving the teammates a chance. See that Jack Hughes is just trying to attract enough defenders to create the space, but when he offloads the ball here, Jake Marmo knocks it forward, gives the ball back to Castleford. You know, he's not the biggest, but he runs hard, doesn't he? Already, we've seen him score a couple of tries in this game. Knows how to finish, knows how to do the dirty stuff as well.
Back down, Warrington, let's go. I'll tell you when. 10 seconds, let's go. Let's go, wait. Head in, yeah, okay, mate. Shot clock off. Out!
So Clarkson trying to run this ball away from his own line. But this
go, that's 1.
Warrington defensive line is absolutely solid at the moment. They just can't find their way through Castleford, and they're one of the more attractive sides who like to spin it wide when they possibly can.
They can't go through and they can't go around either, because when the ball is in the air and they're looking to find space on the edge, players are working hard from the inside, shutting it down. Those 2 players have made a huge difference as they give a penalty away. Philbin, Ben Murdoch, Vasily, you can chuck Benny Westwood in there as well.
Paul McShane. He won't go down easy.
Discipline now, Ben! Discipline here.
Well, they don't moan about the injuries, Castleford. Darryl Powell just says it's a part and parcel of the game, but they have been decimated this year. The season is only 5 rounds old. There's some of the stars sitting on the sideline. Of course, Millington is suspended, so we don't count him in there.
It makes the squad better for the back end of the season as well, when they all come back, competition for places.
O'Neill gives it to Truman. Truman drew the defence, gave it to Matatia. This is Minikin. Minikin strolls in down that right-hand side. Well, they got round the outside of them then, all right. And Greg Minikin gets the try that just breathes a little life into the Castleford challenge. It's a long way back still, but they got round them down the right-hand side, and Minikin gets his first try of the season.
Well, it was Greg Minikin when he was under pressure from Castleford that didn't bite in, kept his composure, and then off the back of that set, Paul McShane earns his side a penalty. Lovely stuff close at the line from Cass Tigers. Jake Truman takes it to the line, manipulates the line as the coaches and players term. Wonderful pass from the fullback. And Peter Matautia, who hasn't had a lot to do in good ball tonight, he's been peppered under the high ball, delivers a lovely pass.
So Jordan Rankin with the chance to get Castleford into double figures. Good hit, and he finds the mark as well. That's an excellent kick in the conditions. Strong wind in his face. 24 points to 10 Castleford.
And most of the teams in Super League on the same line, same angles, but the best ones do it with faster players and with greater timing, and that's exactly what set up Castleford for this try. Don't forget, going into this game, they'd scored 21 tries in the 4 games before this. This is a side that do know the way across the try line, and that's testament to just how well Warrington had defended for almost an hour. They've got another tough 20 minutes before they can see the 2 points on the table. The coach now down on the sideline talking to Danny Orr, one of his assistant coaches.
Coming up to the hour mark, Greg Minikin said in the first half he's filling the void left by Jake Webster in the centre, and he only played centre in 1 match last year. That was in the game against Leeds at Ellen Road, so he's doing well.
During his junior career, he was always known as a centre, always wanted that job, even though his first job, his first requirement when he made the first team was to play on the wing. He's learned, he's bided his time, been at the side of some fabulous players inside him, and he'll grab his chance now, and they're looking to spread, looking to play.
Shenton takes it back inside, taking on Masilla and Austin. O'Neill at dummy half finds McShane. Got away by Rankin to Foster, and then a lovely flick pass out the back to McShane. They've decided to throw caution to the wind here, Castleford, and see where it takes them. This is Truman. Gets it away to Foster again. Foster halted by Jack Hughes. Last one for Castleford then. Can they get at least a repeat set out of this? Ball is palmed back. They might get more than that. They might get more than that, because it's found its way here to Junior Moores. Back it comes to Shenton. Shenton couldn't get the pass away.
Well, they're an exciting side, aren't they? Castleford, I say that set of 6, Eddie. It was side to side. They were gaining momentum. They were going forward. Paul McShane had his hands on the ball an awful lot, going at the defending line, trying to fix some defenders. Get them to plant the feet, use the speed out wide, and Paul McShane now just getting some treatment.
He's been in the wars tonight, McShane.
He always is, isn't he? Plays in the belly of the defence, the belly of the attack as well. Just let everyone around take control. His game management over the years, every year it grows and grows and grows. The responsibility of senior players not playing certainly does lift him to another level, I believe.
And he's ultra consistent, this fellow, as well, you know. He's missed just 2 of 100 games that he could have played for Castleford since 2016.
Value for money, that, isn't it?
And what he's done as well, he's took the challenge of playing against former Castleford player Darryl Clark. 94 times he played for Cass Tigers, Darryl Clark. And Paul McShane is trying to outwork him, but I want to credit
the defence of Warrington. It's easy to be enthusiastic when your team's got the ball. It's easy to put yourself in the frame when your side's got the ball, but what Warrington are trying to do, and they are supporting each other, is get around the ball when it's your time to defend and work for your teammates.
Chris Hill takes it forward. Wigan Huddersfield, don't forget, tomorrow night from the Betfred Super League. Sky Sports Arena at 7. Second of 3, because we're on Sports Action on Saturday. Sky Sports Action at 4:55 for the Dragons against the Red Devils. It's a big test for Salford, and a big test for Catalan after their win against this Warrington side last week. And Huddersfield will be desperate tomorrow night to get their season up and running against the Wigan side that inexplicably, in some people's eyes, lost in London last weekend.
You say that.
I said in some people's eyes.
Wakefield lost in London, and we all saw how good Wakefield were at Leeds last week, so I think, you know, that sort of puts that into context, that result. The London side at home will probably pick up a couple more wins this year.
And Danny Ward and David Hughes, for that matter, need all the credit in the world, because they have retained the bulk of that squad that got them up into Super League, and they have a terrific team spirit, the London Broncos. They know they're an outpost, they know they're an unfancied team. When they travel to a away game, they only have a smattering of fans, but the players play for each other, and that team spirit, that togetherness, that unity is something that Danny Ward really harnesses and cultivates.
And they've got 4 points more currently than the Huddersfield Giants, who are at Wigan tomorrow night. And that could be a worry for Huddersfield if they lose again tomorrow. That will not be their intention, of course. But with one down automatically at the end of this season, you don't want to finish bottom of the table in 2019.
That trap door is well and truly open. Simon Wolford questioned his side's resilience. You want to see a bit more on short.
We might tomorrow night. Meanwhile, here at Warrington, Castleford are looking to get right back in this contest, keeping the ball alive. This was their trademark 2017, 2018. Doing it again in 2019. Last tackle coming up for them. Truman's left boot hoisted high. Eaton's after this. Oh, Charlie has knocked that on. This is going to be Castleford's ball. The tackle count is wiped down. 0. And Truman takes the 0 tackle.
When the ball goes up in the air, it's all about competition, isn't it?
Oh, Josh Charlie has picked somebody's pocket here. Jacques O'Neill. 6 to go it was. 7 to go actually with the 0 tackle. That's a glorious opportunity for Castleford. Wasted.
It was Josh Charlie that made the mistake from the kick, and it was Josh Charlie the one who made up for that mistake by getting the ball back.
So it's a very steep learning curve for Jack O'Neill, isn't it? They've lost possession. One thing Castleford are doing, they might not come back to win this game, but they want to build a reputation that they're an 80-minute team, regardless of the scoreboard. Kick through from Austin.
But pouched easily by Eden, who, if he can get into open space, is quite a speedster. Matout here again. Sent by Hill.
Same as this one. Again, though, he's got 2 big forwards on him, they still can't take him to ground.
That's the penalty here. It was a very untidy play, the ball.
No, when Matout carries the ball, he's powerful, he's quick, he's got Lamatasi, Chris Hill around him. Just make it messy around the ruck, even though Greg Minikin gets out from dummy half up. There's the penalty.
It's the 8th penalty that Castleford have received.
Move! Lama! Go 1.
Here's Massey now.
2. Move, Darrow! Go 2. Well done, boys.
And Truman.
Still 2.
Not the best pass, but Tautia turned it into a decent ball and actually was smartly up off his backside as well. But Darryl Clark was alert. It was Truman. Short ball.
4. Move! Go 4.
Now Shenton.
Darryl.
It's a lone furrow when you're on your own against this Warrington defence. Last one here for Castleford. Truman stabs a nice little kick in. Chris Hill dives on the ball, the Warrington captain.
Well, he's normally known for his big goal forward, isn't he? Always puts his hand up, Chris Hill. Does well to get down on that ball. Castleford looking to turn the pressure now, making it as difficult as they can for Warrington.
Charnley taking on Shane. Rankin helping out. Darrell Clark. Lamatazi.
Surrender!
Good defence here from Cass.
Go for.
Just 16 metres gain, carrying the ball.
Hughes gets them to tackle 5. They've only made 26 metres. They've got the wind at their backs. Big kick here. Look at that. Booms downfield. This is going to go over the dead ball line.
Do you know you'd have that though? You'd have
Is it? No, it's not.
It's
wow,
not.
What a kick. What a kick from Austin that was.
Do you know, just kick for distance.
Not a bad chase either, by the way.
I said it, even if that ball would have got dead, you'd have 7 tackles just to relieve that pressure.
As someone once said, that was like an exercise missile. He's back, by the way.
I know, and I believe he was at the London game enjoying the Broncos' victory.
Well, and he will put, of course, we're talking about Steve-O, of course. He will put the London 4 points down to his influence. Actually, when you think about it, he's been there for a couple of years. Andrew Henderson, Coach of the Year. Danny Ward, Coach of the Year last year. And there are people who says he knows nothing about the game.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to do with those two coaches. All Steve-O.
Truman. High kick. Oh, that was inventive from Shenton. I don't know whether he meant it, the overhead kick, but he'll do. But it only arrived in Charnley's hands.
If he would have scored, he would have said he played for it. Real skill. He'd gone past the ball, he decides to kick it. Well, Josh Charnley, again, fighting hard to play his ball. He looks like a very cranky man at the minute. He looks like he's turned up, he's watched his fellow winger score 2 tries, and he thinks, why not me? Sometimes you get to dab the ball down, and other times you've got to roll your sleeves up.
Warrington doing that, and have done that in defence all night. And here is Jason Clark again.
And that's what good teams can do, Eddie, when they've got to get into the arm wrestle. They've got to make sure that they do the things. Darrell Clark, speed off the ruck, dangerous play, and he gets out with dummy half and causes problems.
Austin again drills the ball into touch. Knows there's only 11 minutes left to play, so we'll eat up a little bit of time. 35 seconds in all.
Yeah, knowing that Cass will need to score 3 times as well. Blair Austin just takes control of that whole set now, and then all the talk will be about defending for 1 more minute. Try and restrict the meters that Castleford make. Steve Price, lots of errors last week, quite clinical this week. Lee Braze, and them just talking to each other, sending down messages on what they want to do. Castleford overloading their right-hand side, leaving nobody on the left.
Shot clock off. Out!
Well, that was a good scrum for Warrington because it used up well over half a minute. Another penalty here for Castleford. This will be a concern for Stephen Price.
I was just about to say that. One thing that probably will upset Steve Price is where they're giving the penalties to let them out of those yardage sort of areas. When I say yardage sort of plays, you don't normally see many teams play expansive rugby 20 metres from the line. They'd always normally let one-up carries, simple drives. And then to give the penalty away just relieves all that pressure.
Well, we've talked about Castleford's injuries this season. I think there's a little more bother for them tonight, Bill.
Well, they're hoping not. Jesse Senilafeo hobbling a few moments ago, but he's still out there. Could possibly be a little touch of cramp, but it's going to need a big effort from the Castleford Tigers in this last 9 minutes or so if they're going to turn this around. And just incidentally, James Clare not featuring in the second half for the Tigers. Tuyo Godo out there, and the word is it's not an injury, so Darrell Powell just making 1 or 2 changes to try and get the team going in the right direction.
They are here now with Liam Watts. Dumps the ball down. They have to take a chance, Castleford.
And they're dangerous when they do, Eddie.
Here they come with Rankin. Passes wide to Shenton. Blake Austin stood his ground. He didn't have to get out of the way. Shenton ran into his back. Now he was quickly down to the ground was Ben Murdoch-Masilla.
If you're wearing a Warrington jersey, you've just got to keep on moving, jogging on the spot. You can't just switch off when the ball goes away from you. There's no doubt that Cass will look to try and target you, try and bring the ball back towards you. And isn't he looking dangerous, Darryl Clark? Stephen Ratchford behind saying, come on, let's go forward, let's make it quicker.
Yeah, Darryl Clark's in great form so far, the former Castleford man, of course. 2014 man of the steel when he was at Castleford, Darryl Clark. Austin, Blake Austin with that kick, one of the early season tips for a possible Man of Steel run in the Warrington side this year, but James Roby of Saints leading the way. This is the try scorer in this second half, Minikin.
I'm really impressed with Warrington's defence. Working very hard with each other, always getting numbers in, always trying to slow it down.
Shenton, Murdoch-Masilla quickly at him. Rankin, drops the pass off. Cook straightens it up. He's got Chris Hill on his back.
Move, Chris!
Not mention that it's the 200th Super League appearance, by the way, for the Warrington skipper, as McShane dabs the kick through. It's difficult for Charnley. He's collected it on his own line, and he skips away from a couple of challenges before McShane gets him down.
There's some tight players on both sides on the field now. Nice tip on.
Mamo thought that Patrick was beckoning there. Hughes. Not turned it in, Castleford. 14 points.
Well, we know, have they been the most consistent club for the last 3 years with a win-loss ratio? They've been tremendous on the grand final, but performances, even when they don't win, aren't usually that bad. And they are finishing strong in this last 20 minutes, pushing Warrington all the way. Kick from Pat, and they're desperate to find that sideline, but Matauchi's going from side to side, keeping the ball in play.
And he will run it back.
Well, the last couple of kicks they've gone to try and find the sideline with Blake Austin first of all, then Deck Patton. Matauchi just managing to keep it in the field of play.
Well, Warrington have made their last change allowed. That's 8 out of 8. Westwood back on the field. So with what they have to go right the way through to the final siren now. It's only 6 and a bit minutes away, or 5 and a bit minutes away. Rankin. Here's a Godu. Going to be pulled over the line is...
Good work from Jack Hughes and Jake Mamo.
Jake Mamo looks to me like a player who's been waiting for weeks and weeks to just get a chance. And I think the introduction of him into the side will have lifted their teammates around him, and I think put a little bit more competition in the camp this week for the other players who are not picked. If you have this sort of energy, attitude and enthusiasm for the game, he's run the ball well, he's been all over the place, he's keen, he's on his toes, he's fast. And he's desperate there to pull his opponent into touch and win possession back.
But I think the other man in the tackle as well deserves a little bit of credit. Jack Hughes playing in the centre, of course. We saw the injury from Bryson Goodwin. Meant that he had to shuffle, he had to go out a position or two out. You mentioned it in the first 10 minutes, Ben Curry coming back, played only 13 out of 70 games over 2 years for Warrington. He's come back and he's made a difference.
Not to see this again, the referee had to make a live call, but does he not grab the cast player? Watch this with his arm. Sure. Josh Charnley's pulling what's down.
How many times has he awarded a penalty? Josh Charnley. No, he's big, strong, he's quick, always fighting to play the ball quickly.
He's played like that all evening, and he's played like he's angry. Played like somebody's nicked his lunch money.
He's not scored tonight.
Oh, well. There you go, Super Benny Westwood. Probably one of the easiest.
You won't like us seeing this again.
No, probably one of the easiest players as well for him to catch, and you can see the frustration on his face. It wasn't as though there was anybody up in his face. No, Jesse Seni Lafayette was in the frame. That wouldn't be enough to put the old stager off.
Debut in 1999.
Wait. Head in.
The last century.
Come on, head in.
For Ben Westwood. For Wakefield. Mind you, we were all born in the last century. So.
Oh.
Speak for yourself, Eddie.
Darryl! Wait.
Oh, you're 18, are you?
Go on.
I know you are between the ears, but we don't have anything else.
2. Move, Darryl! Hold.
Warrington, calling numbers up. They don't want to concede a try against Ben Westwood.
Nathan Massey. You have to credit this Castleford side. They never know when they're beaten. Here's Truman. Gets it away to Matautia. Wide pass to Eden.
Terrific defence from Warrington again. As we said, even though the game's gone, and Darryl Powell's side with nothing to gain, the scoreboard is against them. Of course, they're searching for tries, desperate to get over the try line. But look at the effort here. Josh Charnley does enough to deny Greg Eden. There was 2 primrose and blue shirts further in attendance, 3 actually. Been an all-round, although it's not been perfect, been an all-round performance and a team performance from Warrington.
Who's got the task of the man of the match tonight? You,
I'll tell you what, you could have rolled the dice for anybody in a Warrington shirt. Watts and McShane have been good for Castleford, but Jake Mamo scoring those 2 tries, obviously crucial. But I think the bench has made such a difference. I think that the way that changed the tempo, Ben Westwood, Joe Philbin, and for me the man of the match, Ben Murdoch-Masilla, completely transformed this game in Warrington's favour.
Okay, Ben Murdoch-Masilla then is the Betfred man of the match, and currently chatting to someone on the front row of the stands. Here goes Austin, gets the ball away to Ratchford. Oh!
Tackled by his own man as well.
He was.
Mike Cooper
tried to leap over him. He's trying to get out of the way. Here's Austin again. Jason Clark down the line. Matautia collects it, stays on the ground, and decides he might get up, and he does.
Stand! Wait!
Minute and a half remaining. Warrington have taken away Castleford's 100% unbeaten record.
Well, a professional performance from Warrington. You know, they're up against the team that have scored more points than anybody else in Super League, even though they are missing those players. But to score 24 points against them as well, when they are the best defensive side as well, shows how good this Warrington side are.
And I can hear the cheers from St Helens tonight, because that means the Saints are the only team now with a 100% record at the start of this Betfred Super League season. Good offload. Jesse Sindelefeo finds Eden. But in the last minute, they're being beaten by 14 points, and they are still testing and trying their hand. And here goes a high kick from Rankin, which goes straight up, and in the end bounces to Ratchford.
Well, they'll never give it up, Eddie, this cast side. They've got so many winners in there, so many match winners who can score a try from nothing. And Warrington themselves have put right the wrongs of last week down in the south of France. Steve Price knows that it's mission accomplished for his side. They control the ball, control the Castleford side in defence, and isn't it good to see this man back, his first game back, Ben Curry.
Indeed it is, and it is a victory for the Warrington Wolves. Stephen Price hoped for a reaction. The Warrington coach got a reaction from his players after their narrow defeat to the Catalan Dragons last Saturday. And for Darryl Powell, well, disappointment that they'd lost their 100% record, but they battled gamely. There's a long way to go in this season yet. A long, long way to go. And they will be there or thereabouts when the hunt for the top 5 comes at the end of this season. The top 5, of course, will contest the playoffs in 2019 for the right to get to Old Trafford.
Well, Castle will learn some hard lessons along the way. So will Warrington. As I said before, Ben Curry back in the fold makes this Warrington side stronger. Players both have ripped into each other, and the way that Warrington performed, the way that they've stuck together as a group was good to see. And Liam Watts, one of those players that just plays the game at full pace right the way through the game against this Warrington side that had to dig deep, they had to be brave, they had to be good with the ball. The discipline was good. You get the valuable 2 points that Coach Steve Price is looking for.
OK, let's hear from the Betfred man of the match tonight. As picked by Barry McDermott, it's Big Ben Murdoch-Masila with Bill.
Thanks, Eddie, and it's a very modest man of the match. When you were told you got this, Ben, there you go, there's your silver salver. I think you're a bit embarrassed, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm not much of a talker. I let my talking on the field, so...
You did tonight with that try.
Yeah, what I know what to do is just run hard and tackle hard, that's all.
The bench, though, I mean, you included, made a big difference tonight, didn't it?
Yeah, that was our main point before going into the game. I think we did it last week, picking up the boys from last week at the Kettlelands. We're a bit down, but yeah.
Not down tonight.
Yeah, got down and gritty tonight, so happy with that.
But it was, I mean, there was a lot of motivation. After what happened to you in France, there was obviously a lot of motivation in the camp.
Yeah, I think we're a bit embarrassed from last week. This main point was to come back out here tonight and put them to the sword, and I think that's what we did.
You did. Well done, man of the match. You get a cheque for a charity of your choice as well, Ben. Where's that going to?
I think it's going to Warrington Wolves Foundation, so...
Well done, Ben Murdoch-Masila. From one Ben to another Ben. Ben Curry. How good is it to be back?
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's been a long old 10 months, just over 10 months now, and there's been some long dark days on your own on that gym, so to come back and to get 8 minutes, I was looking towards the sideline at some point to try and get me off, but it's great to get back and get the first win as well.
Now we hear this, you know, when a player's out for a long time, they say it's hell in the gym. How lonely are you, especially when they're out there doing what you want to do?
It is, yeah. They're on the park doing all the skill, and obviously playing rugby, which is what we're here to do. And I'm stuck in the gym in a dark corner, just doing my weights, doing my leg strength. But I had a rehab partner this time with Jack Johnson. He broke his leg, so we've gone through it all together. And he's passed fit yesterday as well. So we've come through it today, and I'm glad to get back out on the field.
And when you take the first hit, when you make your first run, what's the feeling like?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. In the first set, Chris Hill said to me at half-time in the change room, "Don't you dare push me out of the way again."
Is that what you did?
No one pushing Chris Hill out of the way, so... but it was happy for me to get involved, first set, get a carry, and then you're in the game, then you forget about your knee.
Must be a great feeling.
It is, and just to get the win makes it even better.
Well, yes, especially after what happened last week. There was obviously a lot of intent.
Yeah, there was. So we spoke about the first 20 minutes and completing our sets, and I think we went 18 from 18 now in the first half, so... We definitely stuck to the game plan, it worked, it paid off in the end.
Good to see you back.
Thank you, good to be back. Cheers, mate.
Darryl Powell just has a word with Ben. What's your opinion of that performance? Because it was a strong second half, he just couldn't dent them.
Well, I was proud of that, to be honest. Yeah, I think there's a fair bit of steel about us there. I mean, I'm sure your cameras will have picked up the boys sat on the sideline tonight, so... No, I'm not making any excuses for anything. We had a team out there, we thought we could win the game. Thought we started really well. I think Paul McShane, when he knocked on there, it's like, oh, it's one of them where... and our right edge weren't good enough tonight defensively. They've got to fix some things up there. But then I thought we just battled all the way. You know, we just couldn't quite get something. After we'd scored that first try in the second half, another try starts to make it look a little bit edgy, but... well, we couldn't get it, but I thought we really worked hard tonight. I'm proud of that. We started to get some troops back, and you know, the bench was very young tonight. I thought the two young fellas did really well, so yeah, we're in a good spot.
That's been mentioned in the commentary, that the bench maybe made the difference. You know, Ben Murdoch-Masila comes on and sort of blows a hole, and that's what they had to launch at you.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he's a big handful of a thing, isn't he? I thought Jake Truman did a great job on him, to be honest, really fronted up on him. But yeah, we got a couple of young boys there, both did good jobs, but we're struggling for big men in the middle, so, you know, you got Watsy having to do massive minutes, and but no, we're in a great spot. I think, you know, I was proud of the effort, got a steal about us tonight, and we've still got a bit of class as well, and plenty more to come from us.
Are you going to get anybody back soon?
Yeah, the next month we'll start to see some. I think Ollie Holmes will be available next week, and then we'll take it from there. The next month, maybe Mike McMeek and Adam Milner maybe next week. So, yeah, fingers crossed.
Darryl, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, Jake Mamo was brought into the side tonight. Here you go, Jake, for the Warrington Wolves. You can't really have hoped for better than that coming into the side.
Nah, definitely. It's I had to wait my turn a little bit, but the reason I had to wait is because we got such a strong side, and they showed it today.
Well, I think one of our guys said in commentary, you look like a man who had been waiting his turn.
Yeah, that's right. And opportunities don't come easy, so you got to take them when you get them, I suppose.
And what about this performance? Because I think you put a lot of wrongs right tonight, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. We weren't great last week. That's no excuses about that. Everyone saw it. Tonight, yeah, we spoke about it all week, and tonight we just wanted to do what we can, complete well, and that was the most important thing. We completed well and just played a solid game.
Next up, Wigan Warriors. If you can keep your place, that's a tasty prospect.
Yeah, once again, tough game against them. But yeah, we'll try and carry the momentum from tonight into that.
And obviously, as you've said, there's competition for places. What do you got to do between now and next Friday?
Ooh, I don't know. Train hard, suck up a bit. I don't know, bit of anything.
Jake, well done tonight.
Cheers, mate.
Well, we can maybe find out from Steve Price, the Warrington coach. Thanks, Jake. You said before the game that people had been. It was good to have a short turnaround. People were keen to get out there. I think we probably saw that tonight.
Yeah, certainly. Disappointed with the performance last week, and come out and show that we have people who care about the jersey and about the team. And once we got over that block the first 15 minutes, I thought we played some really really good football. Scored some good tries defensively. I was pleased with. The overall aspect. We just got to just tidy up our start, but yeah, it was short turnaround. Couldn't have come better for us.
The intensity was pretty strong, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think we were at 100% first half. I think they were at 83. So
it's a bit better than last week.
Yeah, 100%. It was two quality teams going hard at it, and yeah, it was a good game of football.
Jake's just said, he gets a couple of tries. He said, but there's great competition for places. He wants to be in the side. You've got people sitting on the sidelines, champing at the bit, wanting to get in. It's not a bad situation for a coach.
Yeah, it's a good headache to have. It's healthy, and Jake got his chance tonight, and I thought he'd done a really good job for us. And a couple of blokes missed out tonight, but just says about the depth we have as a playing group. But very pleased with Ben Curry. He's had a long layoff, and to come out here and bang out 80 minutes of football against the competition leaders. I was very, very pleased for Ben.
And look ahead to next week. I mean, you'll let the dust settle on this, but it's quite a prospect, isn't it? Wigan coming next.
Yeah, they're always, quality games of football. Warrington v Wigan, and we expect nothing different. It's going to be another quality hard game of football.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Yeah, Wigan, Wakefield, Hull and London coming up next for Steve Price and the Warrington Wolves. Salford, Saints, Leeds and Wigan for the Castleford Tigers, who will hope to get back to winning ways as soon as is possible. Well, they've gone down in the opening game of round 5 the Betfred Super League, 24 points to 10, 16-4 they trailed at half-time, 8-6 in the second half to the home side. All right, what does that do to the Betfred Super League table? The Castleford Tigers, who started the round on top, stay on top. Warrington now move into second place, pushing Saints down into third. Saints, of course, with a game in hand. Right, completion rate mentioned a few times in the post-match interviews, and in the end for the Warrington Wolves it was 85%. They finished the game against the Catalan Dragons with a 62% completion rate. Steve Price asked for an improvement, he got it, no doubt he'll be happy with that. 16 missed tackles for the Castleford Tigers. Plenty we can offer in mitigation for the Castleford Tigers' performance. Let's focus on the Warrington Wolves to start with. They needed a reaction. The coach demanded a reaction. Fair to say he got that reaction?
Yeah, and the backbone of that is in the numbers we just saw on there. We saw the possession stats at half-time were over 2/3 in Warrington's favour. They remained 60-40 in Warrington's favour. a completion rate, anything above 80%, you're giving yourself a chance. And when you've got the ball players of the quality of Blake Austin, Steph Ratchford, and particularly Darrell Clarke from the base of the ruck, once you start to gain some momentum, that is very, very difficult for an opposition team to claw back. So yeah, I think full credit to the Warrington Wolves. They have a squad that they can rotate, and they can really keep people on their toes. I mean, Steve Price said at the start of the game, there's been a couple of players who've been put on notice there. That's the benefit to a coach of having a deep squad and a quality squad, that you can rotate and you can make sure that those players are on their toes at all times.
Phil, improvements in the metrics John just pointed out. Of course, the scoreline went their way, so they get 2 competition points. That's an improvement from last week. Statistically, there's an improvement from the Warrington Wolves performance. If you look at the performance in a whole, though, is it really where we'd expect the Warrington Wolves to be, or where Steve Price would hope they would be at?
Well, I would say probably yes. Before the game, we talked about deck pattern, and I said to you, if Warrington are serious about getting into the grand final and winning it, they need both halfbacks to contribute. We've seen Blake Austin's contributions this season. They've been very impressive. A lot of people talked about him. I hadn't seen enough from deck pattern, but tonight there were 2 features for me. The try pass and the kick to force a goal line dropout. You could argue afterwards with anybody that those 2 contributions were the turning point and the tipping point, really, in that match, the difference between the 2 sides. So I think that was a significant improvement for them. But they clearly look like a team who were playing poorly last week and played better this week.
Pattern, that'd be balanced off. He kicked out on the full.
Early on, 2 kicks poor, but he recovered from those.
Yeah, Austin ran a ball badly on the last play. But let's have a look at Dick Patton's performance. You wanted to put a microscope on him, Phil. Here it is.
His start was terrible, wasn't it? 2 of his first 3 kicks, 1 went over the sideline, 1 went over the dead ball line, really. And I was starting to look for it. He ran at the opposition once. Probably maybe in other games he might run with a little bit more ball. But then as the game wore on, this pass
is outstanding.
It's fantastic. I mean, there are very few people in the Super League competition who could deliver that. And then the kick here now, this was an important one. Look, the chase behind it, him and his teammates, to deliver at that level. Really, that was a turning point in the second half, and you have to contribute to him. He probably played better than Blake Austin.
Do you agree with that, John?
Yeah, concur. Yep, and that's it. He's going to get an extended run now in that position. There were questions when Kevin Brown was lost before the ball had been kicked. They got the salary cap dispensation. The club with the resources of Warrington. It was a question of when, not if, they were going to come in and buy somebody to replace. I'm glad they've given Deck the opportunity. He's had to be patient, played in a number of positions. He's going to get a run now in that favoured position of his.
All right, John, I left you at 16-4 at half-time. We spoke just as you were going back down to do your analysis piece. We said it's going to be important that Castleford try to score first in the second half. They didn't get that. That would have been the perfect start of the second 40.
And we said, yeah, it comes down to who scores first. So when you look at the chances that Castleford Tigers had throughout the game, not least the first one on 45 minutes from Michael Shenton, who actually found himself with the line at his mercy, just couldn't keep hold of that. And then forward into the 50th minute, and Ben Murdoch-Masilla's try, lovely ball from Blake Austin. We'll have a closer look at that one in a minute. That took it out to 22 points to 4. Ratchford adds a penalty, 24 points to 4. Greg Minikin off a great ball from Peter Matautia goes untouched in the corner, but as Darrell Powell said, they couldn't extend on that, could they? It wasn't for want of trying. Another opportunity missed. This one falls to Junior Moores. If Ben Murdoch-Masilla's the biggest man on the field, he's the second biggest. You would back him there with 5 metres and Blake Austin in front of him. Take that yourself on your 100th game, and close that gap even further. The Castleford missed chances when Darrell Powell sits down and looks at this in the cold light of day will stand out at him, I think.
OK, what ultimately was your game breaker?
Well, it was the Ben Murdoch-Masilla try. We spoke about it just before I left you in the studio after we went off air, and it was you got a feeling that whoever scored first in that second half, certainly if it was Warrington, it was going to be a bridge too far for the Castleford Tigers. Let's take a closer look at the Ben Murdoch-Masilla try, because there's plenty to get our teeth into in this one as well. Once again, good set-up play. Who won the ruck? Who won the battle in that ruck today? Without question, the Warrington Wolves. I also think the setup is excellent. Philbin's about to take the carry, but the man outside him, Ben Westwood, it's an honest line. It holds Jesse Senilafeo, and when you look at this and with the footage moves on a little bit, you can now see Jesse Senilafeo with the white strapping around his head. He's struggling now to get away because of the effectiveness of that line. That allows Blake Austin to travel to the next man in an attempt to isolate Jake Truman. Biggest man on the field, putting him against him. Blake Austin, almost one-on-one, and that's good enough. It's a really well-constructed try, and it's the flamboyance of Blake Austin that you see at first, isn't it? And the barnstorming run by Ben Murdoch-Masila. But as I always say, there's always a lot more to it. And it's that dirty work in the middle from Ben Westwood in the second half, Joe Philbin, you remember, in the first half. Those uncompromising lines, those lines where you know you're probably going to wear a bit. You maybe get a late shot, but you're prepared to do them anyway because it benefits your team.
I think there's one man on the Castleford Tigers team that will get on the coach today and be glad to see the back of the Halliwell Jones, and in particular the back, or the front I should say, of Ben Murdoch-Masila. Darryl Powell referenced him in his post-match interviews. Jake Truman, very talented scrum half, stood up pretty well, considering what was coming at him, how quick it was coming at him, and how big it was coming at him, Phil.
I think he did a fantastic job. I think Jake Truman probably improved. I think you sometimes get better when you lose, and his performance here in defeat was outstanding, really. I mean, everyone's talked about his skills in attack, but he's shown he's strong enough here to cope with anything in defence. Was really, really impressive the way he got himself in front of him, and time after time managed to prevent the big fella from going through.
They're huge efforts.
They are, and I think in defence he's going to grow in confidence with this, despite being taken over the line there once Ben Murdoch-Masila gone through him. But the thing with Jake Truman is once, and I'll say this, I'll be careful how I say this, but once in a generation, once in a generation, a player comes along, and I think he's that type of player. He's a once in a generation player. Is Jake Truman? He's that special. He's somebody who has got the potential to represent his country in the not too distant future. He's somebody who is growing game on game, becoming more confident game on game. Don't force words into it.
No. I would accuse you of hyperbole had it not been spoken and said by Darryl Powell and by other people that have played with him and against him.
People can see that. Listen, I've got no problem praising best players from any team at all. I'm particularly pleased about Ben Curry. I think I'm a massive fan of his, and we've already spoken and waxed lyrical about Dec Patton. Jake Truman is I think, one in a generation player.
Okay, he'll go home a little bruised, but his reputation enhanced, no doubt about that. The Castleford Tigers, they can, Phil Clark, take a bit out of this game, even in defeat. They'll look at a stripped-down side, shorn of some people through suspensions, Grant Millington, through all of those injuries. They'll look at a game, John's highlighted a couple of chances that they had and said, particularly that one at the very start of the game, Darryl Powell referenced it, Paul McShane's chance, after they had scored the opening try of the game. They could have troubled Warrington more than they did in the end.
Well, I think they'll score from that play again this season, won't they? Where Liam Watts turns around. It's almost like an old-fashioned runaround, isn't it? A turn-up. He stops, bolts in front of the defenders, and as he runs around and loops onto the pass, he should, in theory, crash over at that point, but he didn't do. And I think they looked the stronger side in the last 20 minutes. You know, I think that the difference between Castleford's best and worst performance might be an inch. At this level, the best and worst of Warrington's is maybe here and then down here, as we saw last week at Warrington, and that's something that the Wolves need to sort of iron out, really, and get a bit more consistency in the best and worst efforts.
Is it a decent run of games coming now for the Castleford Tigers? And I mean that in the sense that they are certainly going to be challenged. They got Salford at the Mendahose Jungle, followed by Saints at home. They got to go and travel and play Leeds, and then they got Wigan at home as well. So it's a big period. Darryl Powell will be desperate to get some troops back as soon as he can.
Yeah, well, and the biggest fear for the Castleford Tigers of 2019 sits within that dressing room. That fear of underperforming and not doing themselves justice. I don't think they fear, as a group of men, any team in Super League. And the pre-season and the off-season has revolved entirely around stripping back, perhaps parking now 2017, and now looking at moving on and developing this team to the next level. And I think you look at that chance coupled with the Junior Moore's chance, the Shenton chance. That's a minimum of 12 points. That'll needle at Darryl Powell and needle at the players involved as well.
Yep. Let's remember, last season these two sides finished 3rd and 4th. If under the new system, and the best things for me about this season is that it's the top 5 playoff, that's the greatest invention with this hashtag New Beginnings, then you need to finish, I think, 1st or 2nd, which one of these sides aims to do if they want to get to the grand final. I mean, if we go back almost 20 years, we had 4 years of a top 5 playoff, and 1st and 2nd, one of those sides won the grand final every time. So we've a fantastic invention with this top 5 here, and winning 1st or 2nd is significantly better than 3rd or 4th, which we had under the old system.
Significantly better than it was last year, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's a significant difference.
Yep, okay, that's round 5 up and running at the Halliwell Jones Stadium. Here's a reminder of the rest of the fixtures. 3 tomorrow night. Well, it's a much improved Hull FC. Back-to-back wins for them. Leeds come to town. What response have Leeds got? to that defeat at home against Wakefield. 7:45 p.m. over at the KCOM Stadium. We will be at the DW Stadium. Hope you can join us for that one. Winless Huddersfield to take on Wigan, who went down to that shock defeat at Ealing Trailfinders against the London Broncos last Sunday. Saints are in action at home against the aforementioned Danny Ward coach side. 7:45 p.m. for all of those. Catalan at home against Salford. 5 p.m. That's on Saturday on Sky Sports, and the round ends with Wakefield hosting Hull Kingston Rovers at 3 p.m. Right, gentlemen, I want to get your thoughts on tomorrow night's game at the DW Stadium. Huddersfield, plenty of questions being asked about their side by their own coach, and you could say the same about the Wigan Warriors as well. They're in a bit of a hole at the moment.
Are we starting with the Warriors or the Giants?
You can start with two teams desperately in need of a win.
I think the Wigan Warriors is the more obvious starting point, isn't it? They've lost 2 on the bounce now. 1 in agonising fashion in the first Golden Point defeat since its inception in Super League in the weekly rounds. To go down to London as well. We spoke down in London and said that there'll be not many teams that go down there and lose. There'll be a fair few teams that go down there, get a shock and scrape home. I think from reading into Adrian Lamb's post-match conference there that there's maybe a little more than just injured personnel and ill personnel. There's some rumblings going on about some of their key playmakers. To go to lose, despite the reinstatement of 2 points, to lose 3 on the trot would be a very, very difficult situation for Wigan fans to stomach.
A lot of pressure on the champions early, Phil, but they are playing a side who had been accused of having zero resilience by their coach. They're in a bit of trouble as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that comment by the coach. I've watched all 4 of the games so far this season. They've had 2 halves when they've been poor. Last week in the second half, and then the first game against Salford, really. Other than that, I don't think they've been that bad. I think they've been unlucky. They've had some players injured, and they're not quite as good a squad as Castleford yet. So I don't think they've been that far off it. So I think the problem they've got now is the worry that because they're not winning, people play below the ability, like the anxiety. People don't throw the passes that they do when they've got higher confidence.
Their opposition may have the same issues tomorrow.
I don't think so. Wigan weren't that bad against the Roosters a couple of weeks ago. In fact, they were pretty good, other than the last tackles when they kicked it terribly. They were outstanding. And they'll bounce back. Like Warrington bounced back after their performance. Wigan will be very good tomorrow, and Huddersfield...
Will Huddersfield not bounce back from the...
Well, I think you're fine with teams like Huddersfield. The teams that generally respond best are the teams with settled squads. There's been a lot of changes in that Huddersfield team in key positions. As with Leeds Rhinos, it's going to take some time.
OK, well, we will have Jodie Cunningham as our guest in studio at the DW Stadium tomorrow. St Helens and England Star. Join us for that one. That's on Sky Sports Arena at 7 p.m. Remy Casti and the Catalan Dragons will be hosting Salford on Saturday, 4:55 p.m. Sky Sports action for that. Catalan with that big win for them over Warrington in round 4. Well, that was a defeat for the Warrington Wolves that prompted their coach Steve Price to say tonight's game is when he'd find out what sort of a character he had in his dressing room. Well, I think he got the answer. They disposed of Castleford with relative ease in the end, but plenty for Darrell Powell and the Tigers to go home happy with. Till next time, see you. Bye-bye.
We get around. 2 of the top 3 in the Betfred Super League then. Here we go. McShane tapped it up into the air, looking for the tall man. That ball is knocked back. Is it 6 to go? It doesn't matter. I don't think this is a try for Greg Eden. Patton booms along past Antonio, and Jake Marlowe will go in. Warrington on the charge here with Bradford. Widely done. 2 for Marlowe. Crossfield kick. Looking for Marlowe. Finding Jake Marlowe. Going for the hat-trick. Getting the ball away to Hughes. Hughes, brilliant! Rankin, Mataugia, Shenton, oh, he's dropped it. Short ball, Masilla!